The Journey of the Clampets. Come and listen to a story about a man named Jed. He was a poor mountaineer who barely kept his family fed. In those days, life was a constant struggle against the rugged terrain and the unpredictable elements of nature. However, fate had a different plan for him. One day, while he was out hunting for some food to put on the table, he was shooting at a target near the ground. Suddenly, up through the earth came a bubbling, crude substance. It was oil. Some called it black gold, while others referred to it as Texas tea. In an instant, the world changed for the humble man. The first thing you know, old Jed was a millionaire. His kinfolk gathered around, their eyes wide with wonder and excitement. They told him that he must move away from there because California was the place he ought to be. And so, with heavy hearts but bright hopes, they loaded up the old truck and moved to Beverly Hills. That meant swimming pools and movie stars for the Beverly Hillbillies. The morning of their departure from the small town of Hooterville was filled with a bittersweet energy. Jed stood by the truck, looking at the familiar sights one last time. He told the family they must go in, say goodbye to Mr. Drucker, and then be on our way. However, young Jethro was not ready to leave. He expressed his reluctance, saying that he did not want to leave Hooterville. The others echoed his sentiment, feeling the deep roots they had planted in this community. Jethro, with his youthful ambition, felt he was the first real, live, big-time Hollywood producer and director these little old country girls had ever seen. Jed, being the voice of reason, told the boy he was sorry, but they truly had to go. Jethro questioned why they had to leave when he had managed to get himself engaged to 4 of the local girls. Jed simply replied that there were 4 reasons right there why they should start moving. Granny was also feeling the weight of the goodbye. She admitted that she sure did hate to leave because there was a certain someone who wanted to be her sweetheart. She spoke of the town storekeeper, the postmaster, the newspaper publisher, and the banker. It was a lot to leave behind, but Jed reminded them all that it was not as if they were leaving forever. He promised they would be back, perhaps at Christmas time. That thought brought a small smile to their faces. For now, their priority was to bring Miss Jane's car back to her. They walked into the store where Mr. Drucker was waiting. Sam greeted them warmly, though his heart was heavy. Ellie Mae went to the back room because Mr. Drucker told her that E.B. was waiting there to say his final goodbye. Sam expressed how mighty sorry he was to see them leaving for Beverly Hills so soon. Jed explained that it was not by choice and that they had never met a nicer bunch of people. Sam felt the same way, and the bond between them was evident. Granny, ever the skeptic of the big city, was worried about being surrounded by matinee idols in the movie capital. She claimed she had had her fill of those Hollywood glamour boys like Bull Montana. At her age, she was looking for more than just a pretty face. Before they left, Jed wanted to settle some business. He told Sam that he would like to add a little something to the savings account Granny had started for the baby. Sam opened his bank for business, as Jed handed over a couple of hundred. When Sam asked if he should count it, Jed showed his absolute trust by saying that if he said it was a couple of hundred, it was a couple of hundred. Sam handed over the deposit slip, a symbol of their lasting connection. Ellie Mae returned, looking confused because she could not find E.B. anywhere. Sam found it strange since the boy had been there since 5:30 in the morning, looking very sad about the departure. Jed decided they would see him on the next trip and urged everyone to be on their way. Suddenly, a noise came from an apple barrel. E.B. was hiding inside. Jed realized he might owe for some apples, but Sam insisted they were on the house. Jethro, ever the dreamer, suggested that when word got around that a big Hollywood producer and director endorsed those apples, they would sell very fast. Jed just wanted to get on the road. As they prepared to leave, Sam offered a bag of candy for the trip. Jethro went to check the suitcases in the trunk, but he found something unexpected. It seemed the suitcases did not want to leave either, or rather, someone was hiding among them. It was E.B. He was fast asleep in the back of the truck. When Jethro woke him up, E.B. was disoriented, asking if they were already in Beverly Hills. He looked at Ellie Mae and told her she had to marry him now because he had taken her across the state line. He looked around and remarked that Beverly Hills looked a lot like Hooterville. Jed had to gently point out that they were, in fact, still in Hooterville. The moment of departure was interrupted by a call from Mr. Douglas. He was looking for Eby because there were chickens to clean and corn to shuck. Eby faced a great decision between being a chicken plucker, a corn shucker, or a bullet ducker. Jed said their final goodbyes, explaining that their neighbor, Mr. Drysdale, was looking after their place and feeding Ellie's critters. Back in Beverly Hills, Mr. Drysdale was discovering that looking after the Clampett household was a monumental task. The place had become a virtual zoo. He was shocked to find that Ellie had a full-grown bear living upstairs. He had to give the bear breakfast in bed because the creature slept anywhere he wanted to. Mr. Drucker tried to offer some cheer by saying the Clampetts would soon be back, but Mr. Drysdale was skeptical. He feared that if Sam did not keep them there, the baby, little Kathy Jo, would. He described the 2-month-old child as having a mind like the Clampetts and eyes that saw too much. He hurried off because it was the bear's lunchtime, and he knew the bear did not like to be kept waiting. Mr. Drysdale's life was becoming a series of animal-related mishaps. His shirt was torn, and his nerves were frayed. He complained to Miss Hathaway about a bear that became violent because he did not like the way the bed was tucked in. He also felt overwhelmed by an ape with whom he had shared a very unusual Thanksgiving dinner of bananas and bamboo shoots. He felt unappreciated, lamenting that he had taken a family of poor backwoods people and given them everything, only to face potential bankruptcy if Jed transferred his $80 million back to Hooterville. He felt the sting of ingratitude, comparing it to a serpent's tooth. He imagined a day of reckoning when Jed would come back to him on his knees, begging to be made rich again. He practiced his cold dismissal, only to be interrupted by the actual arrival of the Clampetts. Jed and the family walked in, catching Mr. Drysdale in the middle of his dramatic monologue. Miss Jane explained that he was laughing in Jed's face, though it was clearly a cover for his surprise. They had brought Eby with them, whom Granny described as a good, honest, hard-working boy. Mr. Drysdale was dismissive of the country boy, calling him a hayseed. However, Granny was determined. She had waited 7 years for Mr. Drysdale to find a fella for Ellie Mae, and since he had failed, she had found one herself. Mr. Drysdale quickly tried to pivot. He claimed he had a country boy of his own ready to court Ellie. He described this mystery man as being born so far out in the country that the sun used to set between his house and town. Granny was skeptical, noting that Mr. Drysdale had been barking for 7 years without catching anything. She thought it might be nice for Ellie to have a choice, even if she felt Eby was a fine young man. In the world of Hollywood, a young actor named Dash Riprock was enjoying his fame. His office was filled with admirers seeking his autograph. However, Mr. Drysdale had a different plan for him. He revealed that Dash's real name was Homer Noodleman from Peoria, Illinois. He wanted Dash to drop his stage name and become a farm boy again to court Ellie Mae. This was all a scheme to keep the Clampett fortune in his bank. Dash was hesitant, protesting that he was a movie star, not a farmhand. Mr. Drysdale countered that his contract would only be renewed if he cooperated. Miss Hathaway was also skeptical, doubting that Dash could convince the Clampetts of his country roots. Mr. Drysdale defended the actor, insisting he had scope, depth, and talent. He gave Dash a list of country expressions to keep in the crown of his hat for reference. Soon, they were at the Clampett estate, introducing Homer Noodleman to the family. Dash tried his best to act the part, claiming he had been out slapping the hogs earlier that day. Jed and Granny were curious but welcoming. Granny even invited him to stay for a supper of sow belly, dandelion greens, and goat tripe. The menu was enough to make the city actor reconsider, and he quickly made an excuse about needing to go home to milk the crows, which he quickly corrected to cows. Jethro was confused by the sudden appearance of this new suitor. He recognized him as the movie star Dash Riprock, but Homer insisted he was going back to the life he loved. Ellie Mae was intrigued by the attention. She was used to her animal friends, like her pet possum, but a human suitor was a new development. Mr. Drysdale continued the charade by bringing in a man he claimed was Homer's father, Noble Noodleman. The meeting between the two Noodlemans was chaotic. The older man was actually a disgruntled employee hired by Mr. Drysdale. He played the part of a grumpy father, criticizing Homer for being a rotten kid. The situation devolved into a family scrap, with the older man even throwing sweet rolls at Mr. Drysdale. Jed and Granny watched in amazement, wondering how such a wonderful old gentleman could have such a difficult son. They concluded that perhaps the boy had stayed away from the farm for too long. As the sun began to set over the hills of Beverly, the future of Ellie Mae's heart remained uncertain. The Clampetts were back in their grand home, yet their hearts remained tied to the simple values of the country. They were a family built on love, honesty, and a touch of eccentricity. Whether in Hooterville or Beverly Hills, they remained true to themselves. And so, it was time to say goodbye to Jed and all his kin. They were grateful for the visitors who had dropped in to hear their story. They extended an invitation for everyone to return the following week to share in more of their hospitality. In this locality, the door was always open and the welcome was always warm. They were the Beverly Hillbillies, a reminder that wealth may change one's surroundings, but it should never change one's soul. As the truck sat parked in the driveway, a symbol of their long journey, the family gathered together, ready for whatever adventures the next day would bring. They invited everyone to take their shoes off and stay a while, ending with a friendly call to come back again soon. The story of the Mountain family in the big city continued, filled with laughter, love, and the enduring spirit of home.